Hello, Red Sox fans, and welcome back to another video. We are here in close to the end of August, going into September. It's almost time for the playoffs, and we're very happy to say that we beat the Yankees. Screw New York, am I right? And now we're in Baltimore at the time of this recording. It's kind of a shame, as most of you know, I'm also an Orioles fan, and the Red Sox are kicking the Orioles' butts, but that's no surprise. The Orioles have been in last place this entire run of 2025. But the Red Sox are on a pretty big win streak right now. So, Brandon, I just want to get your thoughts on this. What are your thoughts overall that we're getting close to the playoffs? The Red Sox are doing pretty good right now. It's good all around. Not knock on wood here, you know.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, last week they got mini swept by the Orioles in that two-game series, which I know you were sort of bittersweet happy about. But obviously, yeah, that weekend series with the Yankees, that four-game series was really crucial. There were so many implications. The wild card standings, the American League East standings. There were so many implications about that series, and it's really, really positive that the Red Sox took three out of four. I honestly think they could have taken that last game. It feels like Alex Cora sort of punted on, that game, sort of sending Dustin May out to the Wolves and, resting the bullpen. But I understand, there's no off days for quite a while, and you need to reserve the bullets at this point in the season. But yeah, the Red Sox are doing really well. They are now clear of the Yankees in the first place of the wild card, barely, but they are first place, they are the first wild card. They're somewhat in reach of the Blue Jays in the AL East at the time of this recording. They're four games out. Again, that's certainly not insurmountable, but the way the Blue Jays have been playing, definitely, that's not the easiest gap to overcome with just 30 or so games left. But I'd say, it's a really positive situation right now with the Red Sox, especially, obviously there's been so many ups and downs that you and I have been covering this year where they swept the Yankees, back in June, and then they traded Rafael Devers, and then it feels like the wheels fell off, and then, they picked it back up right before, they went on that 10 game winning streak before the All-Star break. There's been so many twists and turns this season, but overall, where the Red Sox are at going into the most important part of their season, I have to say I'm really, really impressed. And obviously, for what it's worth, from the time of the first time they played the Yankees to this most recent time, they went on an 8 game winning streak against the Yankees, which is really impressive. I mean, historically, that's one of the longest winning streaks in that, in that rivalry. So again, that really helps in the standings, of course, but it's also just nice because it's the Yankees.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm just going to read something really quick. So when the Red Sox, played the Yankees in June, for the first few games, it was pretty close. The Red Sox lost the first game 6-9. We came back 10-7, 11-7. Fast forward to now in August. The first game came out to be 6-3, then 1-0, and then a right hook, 12-1. I mean, again, if that doesn't show how much improvement we've made throughout the course of this season, I don't know what does at this point, especially to our rivals in New York.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Red Sox pitching has been really, really the main target of conversation this year. The offense has been, obviously they lost Devers, but the offense has generally been about as advertised, I'd say. But the fact is that, the Yankees lineup obviously is very hit or miss. You have Aaron Judge and then a bunch of who knows, what's going on over there. But it's, holding them to 4 runs in the first 3 games of that series is really impressive, especially at Yankee Stadium, which is, that's a complete sandbox. I mean, that's the shortest, the right field porch is a joke. I mean, it might as well be a little league stadium, but it's really impressive. That the pitching staff, the bullpen and the rotation was able to hold them to 4 runs in those first 3 games. And obviously now they're playing the Orioles. They just shut them out on Tuesday. Obviously they still have a couple games left in the series at the time of this recording, but again, it's a really positive sort of turn of events where it's not just Garrett Crochet and Aroldis Chapman right now. You have guys like Brian Bayo, Lucas Giolito are both pitching really well. A lot of guys in the bullpen are pitching really well at this point. So again, there's still a month left. There's still a lot of twists and turns left for the season to take. Who knows where the Red Sox are going to end up in the final standings? But given what we've seen over the last week or so, I'm really confident that the Red Sox are going to grab, if not the top wild card spot, at least one of the top two.
I couldn't agree more with you. I don't want to end on a bad note. Again, I'm glad that Brian Bayo is doing so well, with everything that has gone on in the past season with him. It's good to see him back on the mound and doing so well. I'm about to go see an Orioles versus Red Sox game tonight as of this recording, so I can't wait to report on that and tell you how well he does and how much they probably cream the Orioles once again. But I will also say the one thing that I'm worried about, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. Is kind of how our older players are doing because they're doing well against the Orioles right now. There's big stories of like Trevor Story coming back after doing kind of poorly throughout this season, and he's just now doing well again. Nathaniel Lowe is doing really well after we just acquired him. What are your thoughts on these older players kind of coming back? Do you think that they'll make the playoff roster? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question because, again, obviously the Red Sox, we've talked about this ad nauseum at this point, but the Red Sox are built for the future. Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, Mayer, all these different guys, Crochet's, in his mid 20s. All these guys are so young. There's so many more playoff runs to come, hopefully, for this Red Sox core. But if there's going to be success this year, as much as those getting those young guys playoff experience is really valuable, it's going to come down to guys like Alex Bregman, like Trevor Story, these veterans who have been here. Obviously Bregman's won a World Series. Trevor Story never made the playoffs with the Rockies, but that's because actually he may have done once, but it's the Rockies that doesn't really count. But so it's just it's positive to see that Trevor Story's been pretty much on fire over the last month. He just joined the 2020 club, which was really impressive, especially given the way he started the season. Nathaniel Lowe, like you mentioned, has been a solid pickup at first base. Obviously, he won the World Series with the Rangers in 2023. So there's a really nice mix right now of, veteran leadership, guys who have been there, done that, and then these young guys who are really talented, sort of, green to this whole thing. We'll see how they respond to the pressure, but it's one of those things where this next month is going to be very telling because pretty much every game is going to be like a playoff environment given the way that the American League is shaking out and given how close the standings are and in the wild card and the American League East. So how they respond over the next month is going to give us a really good, telltale sign of what to expect going into the wild card series and then hopefully beyond for the Red Sox. But as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this, whole conversation about the roster, about, the recent winning streak. How do you feel about the Red Sox right now? What's your temperature check on the team? And as always, we'll respond to every comment.